Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Screaming for Progress. I am your host Stewart Lange and alongside me I have Morrow as always. But first off we'll just start with a bit of an apology that we've missed the last couple of shows just over Christmas, New Year, life gets in the way. Such is life, I suppose, so apologies if you've missed us, but we are back and hoping to cover all the shows going forward. Obviously, Screaming for Progress is available as part of the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, the Wrestling to the Max Network, hopefully soon available on 411 Mania and the returning FPG News. So, don't worry if you can't catch us one of those places, you'll be able to find us somewhere else. If you want to stay right up to date on everything that we do, then feel free to follow us on Twitter, either individually. Myself is at OutAfterDark216. For Liam, it's The Grim Fish. And if you want to follow the show, it's Progress Scream. So, without further ado, Liam, how you been?
Yeah, I've been alright. I'm getting this horrible flu that's knocking half the world out, but not too bad, so I'm quite comfortable doing this. Well, I've still got my voice anyway.
Excellent. Well, if you start coughing and spluttering, we'll know why. Those of you who have listened to the show before will know roughly what it's about. We'll look at the most recent Progress show. In this case, it'll be Chapter 60, Unboxing Live 2. Good fun show where none of the matches are actually announced in advance. So we're going to look at it a slightly different way. We're going to look at the big news first and just take it from there. So probably the biggest news to come out of Unboxing Live would be the Progress Championship, the State of the Progress Championship. We saw Travis Banks, champion, defending against Will Ospreay in a fantastic main event, or co-main event, sorry, that saw Travis retain the belt, only to be confronted by the returning TK Cooper, who challenged for the belt at the next show, which I believe is going to be 62. He gets it. I think Chris Brooks is getting the first shot at the title. But yeah, what did you make of that? Did you enjoy this match?
Yeah, I liked the match. I liked Will Ospreay coming back, seeing as I've just watched him win the IWGP Junior title at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes, yeah.
Which is another awesome show.
Which would have been that would have been after this chronologically, though. So it's a weird one.
Yeah.
Like he fought like the Sunday for Progress, and then flew to Japan to fight on the Thursday for New Japan. So crazy schedule.
Yeah. Such as indie wrestlers, they go all over the world. So fair play to him. But I have one slight little problem with him returning, which is in a match with Jimmy Havoc last year, they had a loser leaves Progress match.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's returned, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of Ospreay. I'm glad he's returned, but they might have found a better way for him to come back rather than just him arriving.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, I think it's a bit of a problem with the sort of loser leaves town matches anyway, because if they leave, then surely they just end up as essentially a free agent, right? So
yeah.
You're going to want to re-sign someone who's just main evented one of your shows, right? Like, no matter who they are, I don't think it'd be good business for Progress to, say, lose Pete Dunne if he lost a loser leaves town match, unless he was completely out of contract. I know that it's sports entertainment and all that kind of thing, but I agree with you on that. Very quick.
Of continuity.
Yeah, very, very soon for that sort of turnaround to happen. So, a bit disappointing on that regard, but also really good to see Will Ospreay back. And great as well to see TK Cooper back. Now, I'm going to put it out there that nowhere in the rest of professional wrestling have we heard someone get the same returning pop twice in a calendar year as TK Cooper.
It was a big one as well.
Yeah.
I think it was last. I can't remember what chapter it was now, but Banks was getting beaten down by British Strong Style, and Dahlia Black and TK Cooper come out, and that was, I think that's the biggest pop I've ever heard.
Yeah, from a crowd of 700 people, that was fucking insane.
Yeah. Even just on the TV, it sounded deafening.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for him to get that again, I think is fantastic. Like, I love TK, so I'm really glad to see him back, really pleased to see him fighting for the belt. I hate to say I don't think he'll win it, but I do have a bit of a theory on the title, which I'm going to share in a little while, so stay tuned for that one, folks.
Well, I've got my own theory about that. So.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll share them. We'll share them. The next sort of big bit of news to come out of this show was that we saw the WWE UK Championship match on the show. Champion Pete Dunne defending it against Jack Gallagher in the match that was supposed to be, I believe, was it the Boston show? When they went to America and they had all the issues with travel and transport and so on. Pete Dunne had his injury, so they had to call off the match and all that sort of thing. So it was a New York card that they were scheduled to be on. I will say that this is the third UK Championship match outside of the WWE. One at ICW.
It was a four-way match, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was one in Norwich as well for another promotion, and then there was this one at Progress. So, really, really cool to see that there was another defence. It was a really good match as well. Really good fun. It shows you how much Jack Gallagher's wasted in WWE and bloody 205 Live. I know he's not the only one, but yeah, that was some great wrestling in this match. Pete Dunne knocks it out again. I think the guy's probably at this point incapable of having anything under a 4-star match. He's that good.
Yeah. I can't ever see him losing the title outside of the WWE.
No.
I think if they're going to have a title change, it's going to happen on probably NXT. But when they start the match, you kind of forget that because there's such a good match, there's such a good atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, that
you just enjoy the match.
Yeah, that's it. That's how the sort of best matches go. I mean, I had the end of Jericho Omega ruined for me. It didn't stop it being fantastic. If you look even further back, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, everybody knew that was Ric Flair's last match. It was still as close as damned to a perfect wrestling match as you're ever going to see. So that I don't think matters as long as the guys in the ring know what they're doing. Fantastic. Absolutely no complaints. Really good match. Really strong end to the show as well. 2 fantastic matches to close the year in Progress. Absolutely no complaints. Really anywhere. Like, there were 2 basically faultless indie matches. So, really enjoyed that.
Which is they're the kind of matches we come to expect from Progress now.
Yeah, I mean, to sort of break the fourth wall a little bit here to the listeners, that's one of the reasons why we've not done the last couple of cards, in that we found it kind of a bit difficult to get into the groove of recording again, and even watching the shows. Certainly myself, I know that you've had a couple of issues yourself with just being motivated to actually watch, Liam.
Just wrestling in general, to be honest. They had a bit of a lull towards the end of the last year. Not just Progress, they all did. I don't know whether it's down to their schedules or just the fact that by the end of the year they're all just exhausted. But
Well,
That's kind of how it goes, isn't it?
No rest for the wicked in the WWE since they were working Christmas Day and New Year's Day.
No.
But,
Which is down to more the network, I believe, because they were going to pre-record one and the network said, no, we want it live.
Yeah.
Which is a bit shitty of them, but...
Yeah, very. But there we have it, eh? There we have it. So yeah, probably the next big bit of news we have, or the next big effort from the show, is a surprise win for Jack Sexsmith against former ICW champion Joe Coffey. Now, herein lies my first issue with the show. I don't like this super push that Jack Sexsmith seems to be getting. I think that if you take away the gimmick, he's not a very good wrestler. If I'm being completely honest, I think he's very one-dimensional. I think he's a decent enough underdog, but also I don't think he has the sort of it factor from the underdog that we need. So you have the likes of Daniel Bryan, you have even the likes of Eddie Guerrero. They were phenomenal talents, and they were able to really play that. When Eddie beat JBL or Brock, you were fine with that. You were able to sort of get on board with that. I've watched Joe Coffey rule ICW for the last year, and it's just really difficult for me to believe that Jack Sexsmith can defeat him. Having seen him, Joe, defeat the likes of Chris Hero in the last year and stuff like that. Just, yeah, not a fan. Not a fan.
Yeah, I do like Sexsmith. I like sort of what he stands for, which is just be who you are kind of thing. Yeah. But I know what you mean about his talent. Like, I could see him getting maybe sort of an underdog victory against maybe like your Webster or, some of the, say, less decorated wrestlers they've got.
Yeah.
Who are maybe just starting out as well, that are slightly bigger or more talented. But, yeah, against your, like, Joe Coffey, who, like you said, has just ruled ICW with an iron fist. Yeah, there's something a bit off about it. Yeah,
and that's it's a shame to say, because like I kind of get what they're doing with him, and it's fair enough that they've picked their guy, they want to push him, but I hate to be devil's advocate. I hope they're not doing it for kind of the wrong reasons. I think there's a good chance they could be. Like I say, I just hope that they're doing this for the right reason. Now, this kind of runs me onto my prediction for the belt over the next sort of little while. Now, obviously, Jack Sexsmith has the right to challenge for any Progress title in the company. Now, he's not big enough to challenge for the Atlas title, as much as I would love to see Walter kill him. Not literally kill him. I will point that. But I just think he's going to challenge for the belt. He's going to lose valiantly. I have a horrible feeling that he's going to win Super Strong Style 16. Last year it was mental enough that he was in it, and now I'm looking at him potentially winning the whole thing. But there we go. And then I think he's going to win the belt at Wembley. If I'm being completely honest, I think that is the way the year is going. I'd be disappointed to see it happen, but that's what I think. That's what I reckon we're going to see.
It's starting off a bit similar to how they started off Travis Banks, where he kept getting win after win after win. Super Strong Style won that. Big Pop won the title. But Travis Banks is more of a complete wrestler than Sexsmith. So unless he drastically improves in the next couple of months, it's either going to be, valiant losing effort, or he wins and everyone's a bit confused about it.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's not. I think a loss for the title would do more for Sexsmith going forward than them forcing the belt onto him at this point. I don't think he needs the belt, really. I think it actually doesn't do anything for the belt either. I think it's one of the few titles in wrestling that's still kind of protected. It does have a bit of an air about it. So yeah. I really hope that they kind of think about that. But I
think if they had a sort of intermediate title, like the equivalent of a US or Intercontinental title, I think Sexsmith winning that would be absolutely fine.
Yes, yeah. A trial run, yeah.
Yeah. Like if they brought in I don't know what they'd call it, but...
a TV title, something along those lines.
Yeah, TV titles.
Yeah.
European title.
European title. Yeah.
I think if he won something like that, it would be more realistic.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you touched on something there which kind of segs us nice into the next sort of match that I want to talk about, and that's that they actually have the organic push that they're looking to do with Sexsmith. They're kind of organically setting that up with Flash Morgan Webster, and they have been inadvertently for a long time as well, going back to his injury, the Road Back to Malice documentary, all that kind of stuff. And I just think with this new twist in his story, where he's kind of seemingly walked out on Progress after his loss to the returning Rampage Brown at Unboxing, that there's just no place for him in the company anymore. I think that's the push. I think that's what you run with. Just even if I'd love it if this was all a master stroke and like the whole Sexsmith thing was almost like distraction booking. And in the background we just don't see the rise of the return of Flash. Again, Flash kind of a wee guy. I don't really know how he'd fit into the actual title picture, but I'd love him at least have a cup of coffee with the belt. I know that you had an interesting theory with him, so I don't know if you want to share it in a bit more detail just now.
Yeah, so if you've watched the show, you know that he sort of says, I'm taking some time off for me, reevaluate my place in Progress. I imagine he'll still, because he's still got a sort of a couple of titles in a few other promotions. So maybe he sets up something for a return for Super Strong Style, wins a tournament, goes on to face Banks at, I would imagine, Wembley, wins a title, big comeback story. He finally feels vindicated somewhat. That's my prediction. But like you said, he's not the biggest guy either, but then neither's Banks. Neither's Dunne, and he was champion for well over a year. So that's my little prediction, but I could be way off. But if that's something that happened, then that's something I'd like to see.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed that that's the route they go on. There's a few other matches that we'll talk about just before we head off. Obviously, Unboxing is a bit of a kind of play around. There's a lot of wrestlers come there to have fun. No more did we see that in the opening match, which was a sort of four-way tag team match, or so we were led to believe. Basically, we were introduced to the four teams: British Strong Style, CCK, which was Chris Brooks and the inflatable Kid Lykos. It's very important to know. We had the grizzled young veterans, the current Progress champions, who are Zach Gibson and James Drake, and we had Aussie Open. So after about half an hour, like literally half an hour of dicking around before we started, it eventually got that we were getting 4-on-4, and Tyler Bate and Trent Seven were to pick teams from the rest of the guys. Obviously, big laughs and jokes and stuff like that because they were able to split up the two teams, or the four teams. So James Drake and Zach Gibson were on separate teams and initially didn't want involved because it was all a load of nonsense, because obviously Inflatable Lycos got picked before James Drake, which kind of led to a whole load of insanity throughout the match. And yeah, it was fun. It was nonsense. It went on for far too long for a show that overran anyway. I think this probably had, I think by the end of this match we were roughly an hour in.
It was about, I think I saw on the timer at the bottom it was like 50 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So you're looking at half an hour of knobbing around and about 20-25 minutes of the actual match.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was quite funny how Drake and Gibson eliminated each other.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite funny, actually, seeing as no one liked them. So
yeah, obviously they got all the finishers on them,
around.
Yeah. Obviously we had the suicide plancha from the balcony by Inflatable Lycos, which I did like when Chris Brooks sort of went to hit him and he said, "I'm sorry, I love you," and hit him off the balcony. Poor Lycos. I'm reading reports at the moment, these are undisclosed, that Inflatable Lycos has damaged his shoulder and is now out for 6 months as well.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but yeah,
source material.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a pretty good fun match. Like I say, it just went on far too long. I don't think we're any sort of further on with the tag division. We did get another tag match later on that I think is going to have a bit more of a influence on the upcoming state of the division. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. We did get a really, really quite impressive six-way women's match. Progress have taken a bit of flack on social media recently because of the lack of Toni Storm and the lack of women's wrestling on the shows because of the lack of Toni Storm. This more than made up for that, I think. Yeah. So we had Shakara taking on Candy Floss versus Charlie Morgan, Sierra Loxton, Charlie Evans, and Millie McKenzie. And I think all of these girls did themselves no shortage of favours. I thought they all looked fantastic. I don't think anyone was out of place here, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really well done match. I mean, six ways can become a total clusterfuck anyway.
Yeah, they sometimes run the danger of becoming a bit of a spot fest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I think it's taking it back to women's wrestling of last year, which is they're all taken seriously as competitors rather than just female wrestlers.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think this really is going to have too much bearing on the sort of short-term booking of the division, but I think at this point, I think it would serve Progress really well to get the belt off of Toni Storm. I mean, I like Toni. I actually have no problems with her as champion. I think that, she's a very dominant champion when she appears, but we've not seen Toni in a couple of months now. No,
it's been last three chapters we haven't seen her.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're starting to look at sort of Brock Lesnar territory here, and which is ironic because I was going to sort of compare it to, Brock, who turns up, destroys, no problem. We don't feel like Toni's going to lose her belt, and at this point, no one's really stepping out as a proper challenger for her. I mean, I'm surprised that we didn't see something come of, the Ginny and Dahlia Black street fight.
I think Ginny's still got a title shot in the works, isn't she?
I believe so, but they've not.
But yeah, when that happens, we don't know.
I mean, Ginny was on commentary for this match, and they didn't really allude to that too much. So I hope they get the belt back into the company. I'd like to see the belt quite often. I'd like to see them fighting over something, because you've got 6 women here, plus you've got Ginny, plus you've got Dahlia, plus you've got people who can come in and out. You've got the likes of Martina, you've got Bea Presley is on the next show as well. These girls can all be fighting over that. You know, if the belt is there, then it's believable. You know, they're doing it for something. I'd
I think
like to see
the
it
problem
back.
with Storm is it looks like more and more likely she's WWE bound.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they sort of get the title off her properly, and not just, she's going to WWE now, we quickly need to cobble something together.
Yeah.
Because she deserves better than just having it essentially taken off her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, I think she loses the belt. I don't think that there's any reason for her to be stripped of the title. I think that's a extreme shame. Like, I don't think either of them want to part ways like that. But yeah, I just think that we need the belt back in the company.
I don't think it will be a sort of stripping of the title, but I'm hoping it's not like a sort of a cheap loss just to get the title back.
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's why it can only be Ginny at this point. I think she's the only woman in the company who's been booked well enough lately that she can do it. But yeah, like I say, get the belt back in, get them fighting over something. So yeah, we finished up the first half. We're finishing up talking about the show because we've done it all out of order this time, with a 12 Days of Christmas match between Jimmy Havoc and Mark Haskins taking on Clint Margera and Drew Parker, 2 guys who are making their chapter debuts. Clint Margera I've seen quite a lot in CZW and stuff. Drew Parker know a little bit less about. He's a kid from Wales and he's fucking insane, apparently. He's like 19 years old and a deathmatch wrestler.
They basically said there's like nothing he won't do, essentially.
Yeah.
Which, when you consider what sort of the likes of Jimmy Havoc are capable of, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's pretty scary. But the 12 Days of Christmas match is essentially a Christmas tree in the ring with loads of presents under it. They got given one right at the start, and yeah, you got to open the gifts and use them as weapons. Good fun. Yeah, it was good fun, to be honest. Like, they took the canvas off because obviously there was going to be stuff all over the canvas. I think they maybe wanted the white mat down for blood. There was loads of different things in it. Obviously, the barbed wire baseball bat that was a staple of Havoc and Haskins now. They masking taped the wrists of the referee. They've done that similar sort of thing. They obviously masking taped the hands of Matt Riddle at a recent chapter. Lego everywhere. Just no.
Yeah, there was a voucher for 2 tables from B&Q or something.
It was like a deathmatch gift voucher, yeah, and Jimmy Havoc sent one of the referees away. He was like, go to B&Q, get me a couple of tables, one of which he actually took home with him. It must have been a pretty strong table because it withstood, I think it was it Margera got a Death Valley driver through it.
Yeah, and he sort of slid off of it.
Yeah, and the table didn't break, so we can get a nice Botchamania I am the table moment. Yeah, it was nonsense. We saw Jimmy Havoc getting thrown into a Samsung television, so that was pretty good. It wasn't like your rigged Jericho and HBK Geritron 3000 or anything like that. That was a branded Samsung television. So that was, that looked pretty nasty, if you ask me.
I think the bit that just made me cringe the most was paper cuts and then putting lemon juice into it.
Yeah, no.
Because I used to work at a bar and I know exactly how that feels.
I'm not a massive fan of the paper cut spot. I don't think that they're getting paper cuts in between their fingers. Just being honest, I think it's a little bit like the Marty Skrull finger break.
Finger snap.
I think he's not really breaking their fingers, is he? But for the purposes of the match, pretty good fun. I did like everything about this match. Otherwise, so. I thought overall Unboxing was a really, really good show. Obviously, we saw Havoc and Haskins marching on. I think it's inevitable that we're going to see them going for the title, the tag titles at some point.
Sooner rather than later, by the looks of them.
Yeah. I hope that we see that. I'd like to see them with the belts. To be honest, I think that does make a lot of sense. But I'm enjoying the grizzled young veterans as well. It's good time to be a Progress fan, I think. Overall, what were your thoughts?
It was. I mean, it was one of the sort of best shows, but most fun shows they've had as well.
Yeah,
for a while. I think they're starting to get back into the swing of it, going into Super Strong Style, which is sort of one of their sort of biggest weekends of the year.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to set up a lot for Wembley.
Yeah.
Sort of, similar to that's their WrestleMania, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, I don't think that they've not mentioned Thunder Bastard yet. I don't know if Thunder Bastard's happening this year. I don't know if they're maybe going to change it a little bit with the sort of links to the WWE now. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that regard.
That's kind of their signature match, isn't it? So
yeah.
I'd imagine they still do it. I don't know who. It was Mark Andrews last year, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we will see. I'm sure we'll find a lot more information going forward. So.
Yeah, I think they've got Live at the Dome's happening today.
Today for Live at the Dome, and then we've got Chapter 61 on Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah. So there's a couple more to look forward to. TK Cooper's first match, which he put something quite funny on Twitter where he said, he wants a nice easy match to ease into things, and they put him against Mike Bird.
Yeah.
Who, if you don't know him, he's a heavy hitter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fair play to TK. Can I pressure you for a match of the night?
I'm torn between the two title matches, I've got to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd say I'd lean towards the Progress title match a bit more.
Yeah.
Purely because Will Ospreay just does some stuff in the ring that just shouldn't be physically possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I have to agree with you. I think the Progress title match was match of the night. Close second with the UK title. Two probable Progress match of the year candidates though. If you've not seen this card yet, go and do it. You won't be disappointed. If you can get around the sheer amount of talking, this falls back into I don't know why more isn't edited.
Try and skip the first half an hour if you can.
Yeah, try and skip the first hour or sort of the first 20 minutes until the actual teams come out, and then watch that because it's pretty entertaining. But after that, this was one of the best Progress cards in a long, long time. So overall, 2 thumbs up. Really looking forward to Chapter 61, and who knows, we might even record 2 podcasts in a row.
Next week, yeah.
Yeah, who even knows?
Depending when Chapter 61 gets put up.
Well, of course. Yeah.
If they've got 2, it might take them a bit longer.
Oh, I just meant 2 in a row, as in we'd do this one and then the next chapter without taking a month-long break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, everyone, thank you very much for listening. Obviously, check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Progress Scream on Twitter, Screaming for Progress on Facebook. Follow myself and Liam at Out After Dark 216 and at The Grim Fish. Liam, anything you want to say before we go?
No.
Wonderful. Nice and concise. Everyone, thanks very much for listening. We'll see you next time for chapter 61, and in the meantime, don't be a dick.